When you leave college, there are thousands of people out there with the same degree you have. When you get a job, there will be thousands of people doing what you want to do for a living. But you are the only person alive who has sole custody of your life. Anna Quindlen.
We found that college students are in search of employment after they graduate and need to know tips and resources available for job searching effectively in order to find a job they want. Based on our findings, we believe that if a student utilizes online, keeps an open mind, and does their research, they will find the success they are looking for.
My name is Samantha Thompson, and I'm a senior in elementary education with reading and math endorsements. For my interview, I interviewed a special education teacher at Melcher Dallas, and when I graduate, I'll be looking for a job as an elementary teacher.
Hi, I'm Madison Adams. I'm a senior in apparel merchandising at Iowa State. I have been studying for the past 4 years to become a buyer. So I'm currently starting my job search process to find an internship for the summer. So a lot of the tips that I learned through the articles and my professional interview have been very helpful for that too.
My name is Alex Zabel. I'm a senior in event management here at Iowa State University. As well as that, I also have the qualification for this project of being a small business owner with the experience of hiring over a dozen employees. In the future, I plan to work in the entertainment industry, but more specifically to own my own business.
Hi, my name is Brooke Bennett. I am a senior studying horticulture with a focus on greenhouse plant production. I interviewed Mike Gall, who is the Director of Career Services here at Iowa State for the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. After college, I plan on going to the police academy and eventually becoming a detective.
My name is Peyton Miedema. My major is Child, Adult, and Family Services, and I'm minoring in Communication Studies. For my interview, I interviewed my academic advisor, Lisa Enlow. So for my future career, I've actually recently interviewed for an internship with an adoption agency, and I'm hoping that that's where I'm going to see myself in the future.
Our topic of job searching is important because this can be a very stressful time for recent college graduates. Once you have spent 4 or more years in college, finding a job is a high priority. Learning tips on job searching can help you be successful in getting your first full-time job. I interviewed Jody Milner, a 5th grade special education teacher at Melcher Dallas, and I had 3 major takeaways from my interview. We focused our interview around interviewing specifically for teaching jobs. So the first takeaway that I got was to have a positive social media presence. This is important because my future students and their parents can look through my social media, and I want that to have a positive representation of myself. The second thing was to do your research on the district before you interview. This helps with both asking and answering questions in an interview. It also helps you decide if this is the right district for you. My final takeaway from this interview was to be open to different grade levels. Sometimes you might have to be flexible and first get experience before getting the grade level that you prefer. And who knows, you might end up loving this grade level and stay in it forever. I read 2 articles. The first one was called What Your Resume Should Look Like in 2018, and I found 3 points from this article to share. The first one was the quality of a resume, and it was to make it very unique and eye-appealing. This helps it stick out from other people's resumes. Another thing that you should do on your resume is format it to highlight your strengths. This allows the interviewer to see where you excel. One example of doing this would be if you have really strong work experiences, to put that at the top of your resume. And the final thing that I pulled from this article is that your resume can be the difference between getting a job and not getting a job, so it's important to spend time and make it high quality. I also read the article called Attitudes of Young People to Job Searching Through Social Media, Case of Slovakia. So this article was more of a research article, and it discussed the use and importance of social media in the process of job searching. And it focused on a study that was done in Slovakia, primarily around college-age students, and how they use their social media for personal and professional uses. The article relates to what I discussed in my interview and having a positive social media presence. I think this can be really applicable for college-age students since we do live in a world that social media is used so much. So now that you have tips for job searching in the education field, here are some tips for it in the apparel merchandising field.
Learning about job searching over the course of the semester has been extremely important because job searching has changed so drastically from back when there wasn't as much technology, and with all the technology available, there's so many different ways that you can go about finding a job. And I think it's important to recognize those and kind of see the differences in all of them and what's going to benefit you specifically. So for my professional interview, I actually talked to Jane Passell, who's the assistant department manager of Nordstrom's in Chicago. Her job is kind of to lead a team of workers and then also sell on the floor, go to meetings and talk to buyers and do all of that. So one of the things that she told me was to keep your online presence up to date. So your online resume, your LinkedIn, your professional websites. So having all three of those, I found that I need to constantly be updating it because I've constantly been doing different things and adding new things. And one point that she did make was that people are always looking at those things, so make sure they are professional and then also that they are showcasing your best work. Another thing she suggested doing, which is something I had heard before, but she just kind of emphasized, was to do your research and know information about the company beforehand. Companies really like when you're knowledgeable about them because it shows that you care about the company as well and they can kind of see you in that position. Another suggestion she had that I thought was actually kind of helpful was to keep an open mind. She says, don't get discouraged if you don't get the job of your dreams right away, and also to be open to trying a new position that you weren't actually searching for because that could help lead you to a different place or maybe where you want to be down the road. She kind of helped say that she has gone through a lot of interviews, and even though she didn't get the right one right away, she didn't let it get her down, and now she has a job she really, really enjoys doing. The first article that I chose to research was called Job Search Strategy and Research. That was put out by the Michigan State University staff. It kind of gave students that are either looking for an internship or they're looking for their first entry-level position the opportunity to learn a little bit more before going out and just searching the internet or doing something like that. So the first piece of advice that they gave students was to use multiple job search methods. This is going to give them more opportunities rather than just relying on LinkedIn or their own personal connections, because they're creating new opportunities for themselves that they might not get. And they also stated that people that use more than one method of job searching tend to get jobs quicker because they're putting themselves out there. Well, it talked about using all these different forms of job searching, and then they also did talk a bit about using online resources. They also suggested to not only rely on the internet to search for jobs. There's still a lot of other ways that you can go about this, and so don't only rely on the internet because it might not always work in your favor. The next article that I researched was called Job Searching in a Digital Age, that also recommended not only using online as your only option for finding a job today. While it's great, it's not the only way, like the other article stated. But if you do use online, it did give some information about going about finding that perfect job online, which was to use keywords in your searching. So have that specific job title that you're looking for, or different benefits you're looking for, or also skills. That's going to help you narrow your search so you're not just looking at a bunch of jobs that you are not interested in, which will save you time and help you find your dream job just a bit faster. Another point that it made about job searching digitally was that a lot of interviewers will request Skype interviews, which are online-based video interviews. So always be prepared to be able to do that and have a good connection and dress professionally and ready to work around their schedule.
So to start, this topic is important to me because I, as well as many of my peers, are currently in the job market. For part of my research, I interviewed Ross Crump. Ross is the general manager and a recruiter here for a local business in Ames. Ross is very experienced and has over 100 people that he's hired, so he's very knowledgeable on the topic. A couple of takeaways from my interview with him. The first one being to have a balance of both soft skills and experience. He said that this was important because many times now people are hiring for potential and not just experience. especially in my industry. This means that it's more important to have the right mindset than it is necessarily to have the right experience. I think the further along you go in your career, the less true that gets, but especially for someone my age, having that right mentality is a huge asset. The second one was to be both respectful and energetic. He said this was just the basics. Shake hands, be polite, use the sir and ma'am, and most of all, just get them to be excited about you. If they're not excited about you and or hiring you, you've already lost. The last one was to use social media as well as online resources to your advantage and not your disadvantage. Many people know that employers now can look down on you or just any candidate if you have a bad online presence. It's not hard to imagine how that could happen. But he says that this can actually end up helping you if you do have a good online presence. To have a good online presence, he said, just have a great LinkedIn, somewhere that they can see you have good professional skills. On top of this, having strong personal accounts also helps as well. It kind of speaks for your character. This gives you a way to have a great impression with an employer without even stepping foot in the office yet. That was a lot of my interview with him. On top of that, though, I did study a few articles on the topic. The first of which was an article done by Kansas University. The article suggests breaking down the job searching process into smaller pieces. The best thing, or the reason that this is beneficial, is that the process allows you to be more approachable towards each of the pieces rather than just a daunting large task. It also ends up leading to more success in the trials that they ran. When you can tackle just each piece and it leads up to a large goal, it helps people to actually go after it instead of sitting back at a daunting goal. The second article that I read just stressed the importance of making each job hunt that you do unique. The biggest thing that they stressed with this was that job searching isn't a way to just rain resumes onto numerous companies and hope that somebody bites. To be really effective and to actually, have success, you have to do your research on each of the companies. So go ahead and tailor your resume to that job or that company. As well as any questions you would have, anything like that. Make sure that they know that you're interested in them. On top of that, the last things that they said, which was something that Ross had also said, was just be personal and be respectful. Make sure that they know that you have an interest in your company and they will reciprocate that back to you. Finally, if I've learned anything on this topic, it's that it's incredibly important to be effective in in-person interviews. But now Brooke will shed some light on why it's also important to be effective online as well.
Job searching can be a scary and difficult process if you don't know where to look for a job or have any resources available to you. So during my interview, Mike Gall gave me just some tips and recommendations for students who are in the process of finding a job. So he recommended that students have large networks, so they should attend the career fair and build upon their networks. They should also have an online presence. So a lot of jobs are posted online and employers use the web to find employees. So you should be able to be found via a Google search. Students should have a LinkedIn account. Their resume should be posted online and be able to be viewed by employers. Mike Gall also recommended that students utilize the career fair to build networks, expand their job searches, and just practice communication skills and professionalism. Some resources available to students here at Iowa State are resume workshops, mock interviews, SciHire, and just even utilizing the Career Services Department to help with just the entire job searching process. My article was about social media and how it is being used for job searching and recruiting. So my article really focused on being present online. It's important that employers can find you online. However, with that, it's important that you are watching your social media and making sure that everything you are posting is appropriate and professional. We should be aware of what we are engaging in or allowing others to tag us in online, because you never know what one post how it could come back and prevent you from getting your dream job. With social media, it's also just important that you are present, just put your skills and your experiences out there for others to find. You never know who is going to come across your Facebook or your LinkedIn. So it's important that you are present but professional.
Why our topic is important. Job searching is a very important part of getting to the end of your college career. At this point, we're all graduating and we're needing to find our next step in life. So we're going to have to branch out and try and find that job that we've been studying for the last 4 years. Who I interviewed? I interviewed Lisa Enlow. She is my academic advisor in Child, Adult, and Family Services. Some of the key points that I took away from our interview was the concept of really getting out and networking and making connections with people. She really talked about how even if you find a place that is your just dream job, there's really a chance that they don't really post their jobs. So you just reach out to them and try and make a connection with them. Even for my own personal internship that I've been looking for is with adoption agencies. And she's like, a lot of those don't post your jobs. So you got to call, branch out to them and ask them. You just have to put yourself out there. Another thing that she really made a key point of is to keep your options open. We're just graduating. We're just looking for that first job. So you can't really stick to one absolute thing and have your heart set on that. At least for your key starting point. You need to keep your mind open and options for your starting spot. Another really big thing she focused on was how useful the internet is. So, there's tons of sites out there that a lot of jobs post their job openings to. And that's a really good key source for even just looking up organizations and finding out what they're all about. From my article, the main thing that I took from my article is how important your resume is. That is really going to be your make or break when you're applying for a job. That's the first thing they see of you, and so you really need to make sure that it's clean and a nice format, and that it really emphasizes all the things that you have going for you. So if you have certificates in certain fields, or if you have leadership experience, and definitely make sure that you have the skills that you really think benefit you the most listed on your resume. And that's going to be your key thing, because that's the first thing they see of you, and that's what's going to get them to call you in for that interview or not.
We found that college students are in search of employment after they graduate and need to know tips and resources available for job searching effectively in order to find a job they want. Based on our findings, we believe that if a student utilizes online, keeps an open mind, and does their research, they will find the success they are looking for.